Hey, this is Jonny Hawkins from Nothing More. You're watching MPJ. Hey, thanks for having me.
It's been, I think, about a little over a month and a half since the album hit the stores. I know you guys had quite the buzz going about the album before it even came out, and we actually got to catch you on the 95X show out in Syracuse.
Yeah.
So things have been going really great with that.
Yeah, it's only gotten busier, and our schedule's gotten fuller, so it's a good problem right now. We're all just trying to hang on for dear life and make sure we get enough sleep every night and all that, but we've just been having nothing but awesome stories night after night.
And then This Is the Time is the video. Is that the current single right now?
That's the current one right now, yeah. We're about to release a second single. We just shot a video yesterday in Toronto all day long. We're all still pretty tired and sore from it, but I think we're going to be doing Mr. MTV as our next single.
Oh, sweet. So I saw the picture they had up on Facebook, everyone's guessed.
Yeah. Which, don't tell anyone.
So how long before you let them know what it is?
I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm saying it now, so I don't know when this is gonna air, but I guess they'll find out. It's fun to let people wonder a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And so when it comes out, it's a little bit of a surprise or unexpected. But a lot of people were saying Jenny.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which that is. Don't worry, we're gonna put that one out as a single and do a video for it. I think we're gonna hold off as maybe the third or the fourth single. Because we all feel so strongly about the song and the reaction that it's getting that we really want to do it justice, and I think we're going to be in a much stronger position on our third or fourth single as far as where we are as a band and how many people are behind us at that point, that it'll have more impact when we release it then.
Yeah, it's a really cool song. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
And then can you tell us a little bit about the video or what we can expect?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but basically I'm trying to think what to say to still leave a little bit of mystery to it, but basically we just go apeshit on a lot of, towards the end of the video especially, where there's these people, these test subjects that are basically being indoctrinated with and inundated with what we all experience every day with the marketing and commercials, and I think the false image of what life is supposed to be based on what marketing people are creating, the illusion. And so we took kind of basically created a picture of that whole thing, and I don't want to say too much of the details, but at the end of it, it all basically explodes, and we're just going, like I said, ape shit on everything. So we're all tired because we've just been doing take after take of us just like going nuts in this one room with people in like, hospital gowns running around going crazy everywhere. So
nice. Well, since we can't talk too much about that video right now, let's talk about the time where you were underwater. Did you do scuba diving, or was that just
No. It was nerve-wracking. We did 3 days of shooting. The first day was the band performances in the water. The second was the day in the ocean. And then the third was we did the underwater scenes, and we did them at night. So I had a scuba diver, like certified blah 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 guy who was underwater with me, who would give me the respirator and then take it away and tap me on the shoulder when they were filming. And so I'd let go and open my eyes and start struggling with the chain that I had that was holding me down. It was the coldest experience I've ever had for 3 days. We were all just wet and cold. So it was a little bit miserable, but it was well worth it. And totally interesting experience.
Yeah, it came out great. So. And then you also have a lyrics video out too.
Yeah.
For Christ Copyright. Is that something that you guys put together, or the label, or what?
We kind of had well, actually that video, we had a guy named Cody, who is actually a guy that we did this next video, Mr. MTV, with. Him and his a crew of people. And we just started talking about the idea with him, and we just went back and forth brainstorming, and he had a lot of great ideas, and so we put that out because we felt like the lyrics to that song were so potent in a lot of ways that we felt like it would do the song justice, not necessarily to have a music video as much as a lyric video, because the lyrics were more important than any of the any kind of visual representation we could do. But we also have a lyric video for If I Were. I did that one, and also we did Sex and Lies, and what was the other one? There's another one I did. I don't remember, but I can't. I'm blanking out. Oh, I'll Be Okay.
Okay.
So those three, I did those on the road on my computer, and so we have some of those out there.
Oh, cool. I'll have to look those.
Yeah.
So, but the Christ Copyright though, because you guys are from Texas, right? And kind of like the Bible Belt type stuff.
Yeah, still part of the Bible Belt.
Do you guys ever get any like slash from kind of? It's not. I don't say it's like going too far the other way, but it is something that you could have people be upset about and cause controversy. You have
a lot of times what I found is people whenever you challenge there's like certain ideas that are in our culture, at least in the Bible Belt culture, that are taboo, and you don't question or challenge those ideas, but everything outside of that is kosher. It's like, that's cool, but for some reason this is off the table, and I don't know why that is. I think mainly there's kind of a deep-rooted insecurity because all of us, myself included, nobody likes feeling like they're wrong when someone challenges their idea or says something that may totally uproot the foundation of everything they believe. Like, that's a big deal to most people. And so when you start chipping away at little ideas and maybe asking people to ask questions or challenge something, what I've noticed is a lot of people in the Bible Belt who will get very defensive, even if you weren't even saying something very far out, but they'll interpret it as like this really intense attack that someone has attacked them in the past in a different way, and they interpret what we're saying as that, which we're not trying to. But yeah, we've had that. But I think what we pride ourselves on as a band is that we like to address our audience, if you will, with a lot of our social media posts. We say to those on either side, because we do have a lot of people who are religious. We have Christians, we have Jews, we have people who are not religious. We have atheists and agnostics and pantheists, and like people from all these different perspectives and worldviews, and we want to stay at the middle of all that. We don't want to, even though as an individual, I'm probably not exactly in the middle. I'm probably a little more extreme, more agnostic, atheistic direction, even though I grew up in the church, but other guys in the bands are a little bit on the other side too. So really we want our audience to be this meeting place of ideas of people who don't necessarily agree. I don't like being the band who's like everybody who follows you agrees with you necessarily. To me, it's just a greater form of self-worship when you have just everybody like think like you do.
Well, it's kind of cool sometimes when you can get conversations going, because in that way it opens that dialogue, and they might think of something you've never had, or vice versa.
Honestly, that's been the most interesting things that I've read, or when people say things that kind of made me rethink what I actually said. So I try to, when I respond to people who challenge something that I posted, I try to respond positively to that and say, thanks for challenging me. Like, I don't know everything either. Like, what is it that you're saying, and where are you getting your facts, and what, you know, and I'll challenge them back. But I've always like grown from that process, and not everybody likes that form of dialogue because it does get a little uncomfortable at times if you're not like open to it. But I personally grow more when it's like that, so we try to encourage that, I guess.
A little over a month and a half ago, their self-titled album came out. But you guys actually, it's your second record. You had one that came out prior to that. Is that?
It
you don't hear too
really,
much about that.
Technically, a lot of people don't know about this, but you know, since I've known Mark, the guitar player, and Daniel, the bass player, since I was in 7th grade. We started making records when we got into high school. So we have, you know, this is probably our 4th or 5th record, but 3 of those records are unavailable. Like, the only people that have them are people who went and watched us back with like 5 other people in these little dive bars back in our hometown and stuff. So we kind of like to keep it that way. And keep it kind of special. But the last record that we are circulating was the first record that I actually started singing on. And that's when we started looking for a drummer, because I did the drums on the record and sang, but we needed somebody to perform live. So we found Paul, and we did this next record, the self-titled one. And basically, this is the first record that we've had a label and management and an agent all, you know, pushing and putting money behind the project, and just being a coordinated effort. So you don't hear as much about the other record because it was an independent release.
Yeah, but it is available, I think, on your website.
Yeah. It's on iTunes. It's on our website.
At the shows too.
Yeah, it's at the shows.
So you guys self-release that. So you guys do a lot of like DIY kind of things, down to even like some of the stuff you have on your stage with you, and you were saying how you were the drummer. Prior to that, you guys do like that drum bass thing, which is so hard to explain to somebody who's never seen it. But is that? Can you talk a little bit about that, like how you guys built that, or where the idea even came from?
The idea, what you see now, is like an end result of a lot of evolutionary steps that, you know, what our first idea wasn't what you see now, but it sparked the whole process. And the first idea started when Mark and Daniel, the guitar player and the bass player, were working this graveyard shift in the belly of a jet for, like, I think it was UPS or something. And this was when they were in college at UTSA in San Antonio. And they were working all night, and then they would go to school during the day, and they just ended up losing their minds because they never found time to sleep, because when they did get home, people were there and partying or hanging out, and it just didn't really work. So they were in the middle of just mindlessly moving boxes from point A to point B at like 2 in the morning, and basically one or both of them kind of had the idea that they would play the bass guitar together. And so in the rehearsal room the next day, they started, Daniel had the bass on and he was playing, and Mark started playing on the neck of the bass. And they were doing like a duet. And well, while they were doing that in the rehearsal room, I was up on the drum set at the time, and I was like, well, I want to be involved, I want to do something. So I had my sticks in my hand. I was like, well, what if I play sticks? And then Daniel starts fretting it. So I came over and started hitting it. That's what sparked the idea. Then over time, we thought, well, what if Dan doesn't hold the bass? What if we put it on a stand? They play it more like a piano. And so we had it on this crappy stand that was like just held together by duct tape. And over time, we kept upgrading it, and our bass player Daniel started learning how to weld. He just picked up a welder and started building things because I had these drums up front now that I was singing, and I said, hey man, I want to be able to stand on these drums and stomp on them and jump off and not worry about them falling over. So he was like, well, I'll build it out of metal. So he started learning how to weld, built that whole, what we call Drum Tron, that holds my drums, and then he's proceeded to build other things, and one of which was that big stand that you see that holds the bass and spins around and locks into Drum Tron. And you know, the future still holds a lot of possibilities for what we still want to build. We want to even take it further and build bigger and do crazier things, but that's where it's at right now.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely adds, I think, to the live show too. It's extra energy when you guys are doing that too, so it's pretty wild to watch. So. And then you said that you're going to add on to with that. Do you guys have anything, excuse me, in the mix that you're going to be working on? That's like, because did you guys do your van too or something, or your bus?
Yeah. As far as like building,
yeah. I think it's kind of neat because you guys take your creativity on a different place that brings it back and meshes it together with the band.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to say it, because you know, a lot of the ideas that we've had with our music or with our stage show have been a result of having done things outside of the band format. For example, Daniel, like, we all divided up our jobs for what we had to do when we first started touring, because we didn't have anybody else to do it. It was just DIY. So Dan took over the auto mechanics side and took care of the van and the RV and whichever vehicle we were in. And so a lot of things that he learned through having to fix our vehicle and just like jerry-rig parts in the moment, like, really got his brain, it was like an exercise for his brain that gave him ideas that he could use for our actual show, with gears and like rotating axles and like metal parts, and same thing with, like, I was on drumline in high school, and it's still music, but we did a lot of like drum sectionals, and one of which was taiko drumming, like Japanese style, real big arm stuff. And so the big drum section that we do in the middle of a song called Salem, where everyone's playing the drums, that was inspired by something outside of the band as well. So I think that's the really cool thing of like being involved in stuff outside of it, is you can always bring it back if you think about it creatively.
Yeah, and Salem's a cool song too. That's off the one prior.
Yeah, the Phenol Palladium's off that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so very cool. And we're catching you out tonight in your headlining tour. We Are Machines, and you have, I'm sorry, I have to peek, the band Sleepwave. That's out with you. Are they like from Texas, or?
They are actually, I guess Florida. A few of them are from some different areas, but basically it's Spencer and Steve. I think Steve. I'm still getting to know their names. If they're watching this video right now, don't hate me. I love you guys, but they know I suck at names, and we all do in this business. But Spencer and I believe Steve kind of started this thing together, and Spencer was the lead singer in a band called Indepth for, they toured for, I guess, like 10 years or so, and it was a great band that we had seen live ourselves before we started touring. Huge inspiration. So it's very kind of full circle and surreal to be touring with Spencer's new project, and to just be hanging and throwing back a beer with him and talking about the road. And it's a really cool thing when your heroes become your peers. Yeah. It's awesome. It's really cool.
Nice. So then the tour goes into September, and it's all over North America, I believe, right? Because you were just in Canada.
Yep.
And a lot of dates I think are still in the U.S. here.
Yeah, we did our first date in Canada, and our only one, but we're planning to go back because it was awesome.
Nice. It was Toronto that you played then?
Yeah.
Nice. Where'd you play there?
A place called Lee's Palace, which while we were there, we were told that it was like, it's one of those clubs that so many acts that ended up down the road being real iconic had played there to like 10 people, kind of a club. They said Nirvana played there in front of like 30 people. And it was, it's just one of those kind of clubs. So it was really cool to have at least played there and gone through it, and
Cool. And then let's see, in September you guys are going to be on the Five Finger, Bulby, and Hell Yeah tour.
Yeah.
Which I know everyone's looking forward to that one. So.
Yeah, that's our first arena tour, so that'll be really exciting. Never done anything like that before, so it's gonna be crazy.
One thing that I'm really looking forward to that tour too is I think like all the bands have different sounds to them, but it seems like they're gonna mesh really well. So you guys will each have your own thing when you're up there. So.
Yeah. It's the one common denominator is the intensity. I think every band is really intense, so it's gonna be like you're gonna hit the hay hard when you get home. I'm sure after that show.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of energy in each of the band's performances, but I think it's gonna be neat because everyone has a different sound though, so it's not like listening to the same band over and over again.
Yeah, totally.
But very cool. And then I saw you guys are going to be part of the Knot Fest.
We've been talking about hopefully getting on Knot Fest and they do it in other parts of the world, I found out. So there's one in Japan we're talking about trying to get on as well. So I didn't even know. I just thought they did Knot Fest here in the States. So.
And this was it California? Is that where that is?
God, I think so.
Are you guys heading anywhere after here? Or after that tour? Do you know yet? Or?
It's looking like we're gonna be doing, we may be going to Europe for a little while, just for a few weeks. Probably doing our own headlining thing, maybe touring with somebody else, don't know yet. And then we're doing another like co-headlining tour. It's looking like we're gonna be doing something with a band called Periphery.
Okay.
But nothing is confirmed or announced yet, so.
It's all in the early stages then.
Yeah, we're still wrapping it up, but
still a ways out too.
We're really excited about that.
Yeah, but you guys definitely have a lot packed in the next couple of months here.
Yeah, and then in the early next year, it looks like we might be going to Australia. And maybe Japan for the first time, so it's a busy time ahead.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with all of that.
Thanks.
Once again, we're here with Nothing More with their self-titled debut. Remember to always support your artists and buy their albums. This has been a video edition of Musician Photo Journal.
Bye.
Thank you.
No problem.